Bo Nix just got some high praise despite a rough start from one NFL analyst who has been particularly harsh about Bo Nix in the past. And we're going to talk about exactly what he said on today's Broncos Breakdown episode. Broncos country, mile high salute to start off today's episode to you. Welcome in. My name is Moose. Let's get to it, shall we? Who is this NFL analyst that had something to say about QB1? His name is Albert Breer. In case you've never heard of him, he does this thing called the Albert Breer Show or the Albert Breer Podcast, but he also used to write for this article called the Monday Morning Quarterback. And essentially what he does is he travels from camp to camp and team to team, doing deep dives on the team, but specifically around the quarterbacks. So he is like a quarterback expert in terms of media reporting. So if there's one guy that I trust about the quarterback play and what he has heard from coaches and scouts and coordinators, Albert Breer is definitely at the top of that list. Here's what he specifically had to say about Bo Nix. Not many people are going to come out of that game and talk about Bo Nix. He played point guard. This says a lot about where Denver is at. And at first I read that and I went, is he taking a shot at Bo Nix? And then I thought, no, he's not taking a shot. He's actually giving Bo Nix some praise. And we're going to talk about why I believe he's giving Bo Nix some praise, even despite the bad Week 1 performance. Before I do that, though, I just want to list in front of you the AFC West quarterbacks that we're going to be facing later on this season. Justin Herbert, believe it or not, is coming up next week in Week 3. But here's what I need you to do. Ignore Patrick Mahomes. Ignore Justin Herbert. And ignore Geno Smith and the rotation of different quarterbacks that the Raiders have. But what you can do is hit that thumbs up icon for QB1, Bo Nix, because I believe Bo Nix can be right at the very top alongside Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert as his career unfolds. So Breer called Bo Nix a point guard. Interesting. And I went back, like I said, and I started to rethink what he meant. And I'm like, actually, that's not bad praise. Because if you think about what a traditional point guard does, in case you're not a basketball guy, I'm going to tell you why it is the perfect analogy. I want Bo Nix to be more like a traditional point guard. 1997 point guard. Somebody that averages 9 points a game, but gives you 11 assists. Because what is a point guard responsible for? Setting up the offense, a.k.a. the huddle, changing the play at the line of scrimmage. How about handling the ball? Who handles the ball on every single play? Quarterback. The quarterback also dictates the flow of the game, just like the point guard. He's the one that speeds it up. He's the one that slows it down. And a point guard assists their other playmakers. Pass first. Obviously, quarterbacks pass the ball. But you get my point. Bo's job right now is to put the ball in the hands of his playmakers. Don't try to do too much. I want Bo Nix to show more game managing. Why? Because it is the most underrated quality a quarterback can have. Who are the ultimate game managers? Think about, let's go back here for just a second. Who are the ultimate game managers in NFL history? Tom Brady. Was Tom Brady ever the most athletic quarterback? Hell no. Peyton Manning. Did Peyton Manning have a gun like Josh Allen did or Brett Favre did? No. How about Drew Brees? Did he have the size of Ben Roethlisberger? No. But what could all three of those guys do better than almost anybody that's ever played the game? Understand how to get the W's at the end of the clock when it hits 00. And that's why Peyton Manning will go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks that's ever lived. Top 5. Drew Brees will go down as a top 10 quarterback. Tom Brady, largely considered the GOAT. So what are the Broncos' strengths that allow Bo Nix to be a point guard? The number 1 defense in the NFL. He's backed by some pretty spectacular players. Continuity in the offensive line. While the offensive line might have struggled a little bit Week 1, All 5 starters returned from 2024. And a new and improved run game, where Sean Payton has said, I need to put the ball in the hands of J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey a lot more frequently than I have before. Winning is the ultimate stat. Period. If Bo Nix went out and threw for 180 yards every single game and made 1 touchdown every game for the rest of the season, but the Broncos went to the Super Bowl, I'd be the happiest camper alive. Because it's not about being Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. How many Super Bowls do those guys have? Goose eggs. They're the most talented out there. Same with Joe Burrow. None of them have Super Bowl wins. Mahomes has Super Bowl wins, and he is ultimately one of the most athletic that's ever played, but he's also an incredible game manager. And that's why they have all of the 3 Super Bowl wins that they do. So let me ask you this question. Bo Nix will finish as a top blank quarterback in 2025. I absolutely think top 12 still. I'm not wavering off my claim that I made earlier on this season. I think week 1 was rough, but it's week 1. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think. All right, coming up, I'm going to tell you about what NFL.com ranked as the NFL, what they call quarterback tiers after week 1. And this, to me, is incredibly puzzling because at one hand, they do go off of week 1 performances somewhat, but they also don't. It's weird. Now, before I get into that, let me tell you about today's presenting sponsor, and that, of course, is Prize Picks. Look, you and I make decisions every single day. There's no doubt about it. But on Prize Picks, you can actually get paid to be right. And Prize Picks is good to be right. All you have to do is pick 2 to 6 players and their stat projections. You pick more or less, and then you send that pick in. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. Join millions of users and sign up today. You can download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Here's what mine looks like for week 2. I picked a bunch of players, none of which are the Broncos, by the way, but this was just a little quick one that I threw in like a couple of days ago. Lamar on the more rushing yards, Justin Fields on the more rushing yards, Travis Kelce on the receiving because it's only 0.5, so obviously that's like a home run hitter. And then Bijan Robinson on less than 70 rushing yards going up against the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think they got it. So here's what I'm going to tell you one more time to do. Download the app, use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video as well as in the live chat. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. So how about this? NFL.com's quarterback tiers heading into week 2. And like I said, this is puzzling because on one hand, they go off of some quarterback performances week 1, and then there's some clear bias that they show in the list as well. What you need to know about this list is that it is comprised of 7 tiers. The first tier being the very upper echelon of NFL quarterbacks, and the 7th being the peasants of NFL quarterbacks. So we'll go through the first 5 reveal style, and then we'll just kind of jumbo put everything else together. Spoilers, you're not going to see Bo Nix in the top 10. NFL's tier 1 after week 1 heading into week 2. Josh Allen comes in at number 1, followed by Patrick Mahomes. And then number 3 is Lamar Jackson, followed by number 4, Mr. Joe Burrow, and number 5, Jayden Daniels, who plays tonight against the Green Bay Packers at the time of this recording. I have no real problem with this except for one thing. Are we sure that Joe Burrow deserves to be on this list? Because if it's based off of week 1 performances, it's wrong. Joe Burrow had like 118 yards passing and 1 touchdown. He barely beat the Cleveland Browns, who suck. They're terrible. So I don't know if this is like you had to win and there's some previous bias of what they've done last year, because That clearly kind of seems what it's like and not what they originally said, which is it's based off of week 1. How about tier 2? NFL.com's tier 2. This is where you're going to see the majority of quarterbacks fall into. Justin Herbert, Stafford, Hurts, Mayfield, Prescott, Stroud. Geno Smith falls in this category. Brock Purdy and Jared Goff coming in to round out tier 2. I'm pretty okay with this. I don't know that I would have had Baker Mayfield in this list. I know he threw 3 touchdowns and no picks, but for the majority of that game, I don't know if you watched it, he was awful. Like, really, really bad. Low completion percentage, was missing targets all day long. He had basically 3 really good clutch throws that ended up being touchdowns. So I guess you could, throw him in there, but like I said, I've got no gripes with tier 2. On to tier 3. Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields. I think they have Love and Fields way too low. Justin Fields balled out against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Aaron Rodgers played well also, but this was one of Justin Fields' best games as a professional. Seriously, he was awesome. So I think they're a little bit low here. And like I said, if you're going off of week 1 performances, Fields deserves to be way higher. NFL tier 4 ranks, yikes. Trevor Lawrence, wow, okay. I don't know about you guys. I'm not high on Trevor Lawrence at all. I don't know what the NFL sees in him. I think he's the king of mid. But Sam Darnold, who fumbled at the very end of that game and lost, is in tier 4. Same with Kyler Murray, who did just enough to get that W. Didn't do anything spectacular. This is kind of like the mid tier. Like you played okay, but nothing good enough to actually propel you forward into the higher ranks. And then we get Bo, tier 5. Now, let's just take a moment here. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Bo's a little high on this list. I wouldn't have had him at 21. Which is why I say I'm not sure what the criteria is for this list. Are you going off of wins and losses, or are you going off of performance? Is it a combination of the two? What is it? Because if we're going off of what Bo Nix did against the Tennessee Titans, and it's strictly off of what week 1 is, he should be much lower on this list. This should be Bo Nix's worst stat line of 2025. Period. It's not good. To have him at 21, though, leads me to believe that there might be some ulterior motives here for this list, because Bo should be lower if it's on week 1. And if it's not, that's fine, but say that. If you're saying, hey, we took into account individual performances, team performances, wins and losses, expected completion percentage, you name the criteria, I'll follow it. But like I said, there are other players on this list. Michael Penix Jr. played far better than Bo Nix did, and he's lower on this list. Let's go to tier 6 real quick, and then we'll end out with tier 7, which I find absolutely hysterical. J.J. McCarthy, Spencer Rattler, Russell Wilson, Bryce Young, Cam Ward, guys that did not play well at all. And then you have the bottom of the barrel, and I think this is hysterically funny. Caleb Williams is in tier 7, and look, I think this is because of a primetime loss that you saw on the biggest stage and the meltdown that the Bears had. But if you look at Caleb Williams' stat line, it was a lot better than a lot of other quarterbacks on this list. He played far better than Bryce Young. He played far better than Spencer Rattler. So having him on tier 7 kind of feels like a dig at the Chicago Bears. But again, potato, and then Tua comes in as the last rated quarterback. He sucked. I mean, he was like the worst rated quarterback outside of Bo in week 1, and it wasn't close. So where would you rank Bo before week 2? If you disagree with me and you think he's properly rated or should be rated higher, let me know. If you agree with me or think he should be lower, also let me know. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. A reminder to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. As always, be cool.